Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mailright Podcast. We're on episode number 372, and today John and I are going to talk about our favorite and oftentimes dialogued about topic, YouTube strategies. And without telling John, I'm going to focus at least a little bit of this conversation on what different types of videos on YouTube can actually accomplish for you, because I have been discovering in my recent consultations that that's wildly misunderstood. But before we get into that, we're going to make sure that all of you beautiful, amazing, glorious people who are tuning into us know who we are. So, John, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, thanks, Rob. I'm the joint founder of mail-right.com. We build beautiful semi-to-full custom websites on WordPress. Plus, we've got a suite of fantastic digital tools which we can help you get some quality leads with. Back over to you, Rob.
And my name is Robert Newman. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the founder of InboundREM. I'm a long time vet of the real estate marketing industry. I've been doing real estate marketing consultation and all sorts of things for 14 years. I'm super excited to get into today's topic because I've been talking to realtors about video for probably 11 or 12 years now. And when we first started talking about it, to give everybody a little bit of a history lesson, nobody thought that video on YouTube was going to move the needle for real estate. Nobody saw the potential to do any business. And it was through a few really enterprising clients like Christoph Chu that they literally created the market for lead generation off YouTube. And it's been a very long road. John and I have been talking about it for 5 or 6 years. And now in 2023, I really feel like we're starting to watch the strategy become adopted. People are listening and people are doing YouTube video, which raises the next question. All right, you're out there, you're doing video. What are these various videos supposed to do for you? What are lead generation videos versus traffic generation videos, brand building videos? Because there are 3 categories of videos that I usually talk to my clients about, and they're different. They accomplish different things. All right. So, John, you know that I can pontificate on this subject for hours and days, and I actually do spend hours talking about it every single day. So, before we dive into that, was there something that you wanted to Did you want to dial me in and get me focused on a certain direction as we launch into the topic, or did you just want me to give me my head and let me run with it?
Yeah, I'll just give a quick outline and then you can comment on it. I think first of all, I think you need to select your niche. What I mean by that is concentrate on one particular type of YouTube video and as you do more of them, you should get better. You will get better. And then when you get to a certain, your channel gets known, you can then slightly mix it up with some other type of YouTube format content. But I think initially you want to decide on what kind of show, YouTube content that you're going to focus on, rather than trying to be, do various types of content, if that makes sense, Rob.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think the great news is that 95% of your competition in your region, city, town, wherever you are, aren't doing video, will never do video. And if you don't get into video in 2023, you're really missing a golden opportunity.
So I would definitely agree with the concept of missing a golden opportunity. So for those of you who don't know, 80% of the content that everybody in the US consumed last year was video. Video is the place that we're going. We're going to TikTok and Instagram and Reels, and we've talked about all those little things individually ad nauseum. I focus my clients' efforts on YouTube because with a little bit of extra work, it's easier for us to get a video found. Video can keep getting found, keep drawing eyeballs in for years. which is not true of Instagram or these other channels. So I focus on long-term value and building that up on YouTube. So first of all, in terms of where to post video, I tend to advise start with YouTube. And then the next thing that I advise is as John said, what kind of niche do you want to go into? Well, really big luxury agents tend to focus and spend a lot of money on listing videos. And they're always calling me and talking to me and saying, video doesn't work. I don't get any calls. Well, guess what? You're not going to get any calls off listing videos. Okay. Listing videos there to brand to your client, the person who listed with you, especially on the luxury side. They expect, and you should do, a very nice video for a property that is in the top 2% of the area that you represent. You want to make sure that you're letting them know that you're going to get their video out on all the big video platforms so that people who are interested in looking at this beautiful home can. But don't think you're going to get any calls off it. They're very rare. I'm not saying they never happen, but they are very rare. Traffic building videos. So these are my favorite kinds of videos to talk about. I also belong to a place called the Real Estate YouTube Mastermind, and I noticed that the #1 conversation that happens in the 10,000 people in there that share ideas about real estate video and YouTube is they are talking oftentimes about why their videos are not generating calls, yet they have, let's call it 300,000 views on their channel. And the reason for that is they're doing like when you go out and you are trying to research video, all of you listening to this podcast, most likely you're seeing all these very popular channels, many subscribers, and what they're doing is they're doing the top 10 reasons people relocate to Tucson. The 10 things I love to hate about Tucson. You better know this before you move to city X. Is all that ringing true for you, John? You've seen lots of those videos?
Yep.
He's nodding, ladies and gentlemen. I'll interpret John for everybody. So, yeah, those videos you will see them ad nauseum, and they're great interest attaching videos, and they get that TikTok market. They get kids watching them. They get adults watching them because you might be able to cleverly string together a very well edited video that shows all the major highlights of an area. On a scale of 1 to 10, the likelihood that somebody's going to call you off one of these videos is about at a 2. It's a very low converting kind of video, and I'll explain why. You're not really necessarily on these videos. You're engaging somebody. You're proving that you're an ambassador to the area. You might be giving them very good lifestyle information, and a lot of people are interested in that information. But you're not necessarily looking for a house. You're not necessarily ready to buy. You're not necessarily ready to list. The videos, and nobody has been more surprised by this, John, than me. But I've discovered that the videos that get some of the most calls of any kind of video that we produced over 10 years of doing case studies with high-end and low-end agents alike, the videos that seem to get the most calls are neighborhood tour videos where you're driving around a neighborhood and you're talking about the inventory in that neighborhood, which #1, clearly identifies that you're trying to sell that inventory or list that inventory. And #2, paints you as an expert in that person who might be watching that video's exact area of interest. In other words, I live in Van Nuys. If I've got video for Encino and Reseda, that's great. But am I going to get a ton of calls for Van Nuys? No. And if somebody's watching from Van Nuys who's interested in a Van Nuys home and they see Encino and Reseda, they're not going to call me in Van Nuys. Yet if you produce a very specific video, you are branding yourself as a person that really knows the neighborhood. You're showing somebody that you do business in that neighborhood. And #3, and here's the most incredible part, you have a chance to really strut your stuff. Like if you've done a lot of business, if you've sold a lot of homes in a particular area, you can talk about the history of selling homes in that area. You can say, I've done, over the years, I've done about 20 transactions in Van Nuys, and I've noticed that the price point has gone up by 10, 20, 30 percentile points, 40 percentile points. So if you bought a home in like I moved into my home somewhere like 20 years ago and it was worth 385. It's worth about 800 or 900,000 today. So I could give that progression like to people watching the video in Van Nuys specifically, which now paints you as an expert, lets people know that you're in and doing business in Van Nuys. These neighborhood tour videos, John, they don't get nearly as many calls or views or anything. So actually, I don't see a ton of them happening online. They're not the common video, the place that real estate agents go to. They also require a little bit of extra effort. You got to get in your car. You got to set up your camera correctly. You got to make sure people can hear you. And then you got to drive around. That is a little bit of extra effort to produce this particular kind of video. And they don't get as many views. So people who are unfamiliar with YouTube or video in general are going to go, why would I produce that video? I've seen a few of those. They only have 80 views. And then I saw this guy do one on the city, like the city top 10 reasons to live in Van Nuys, and that one had 10,000 views. So why in the world would I produce the one that has 80 views? Doesn't make any sense when you're looking at the analytics. But it makes sense when you understand that somebody can watch 5 or 6 interest pieces, but they're going to call off the video, which is you driving around talking about the houses. You with me, John?
Yeah, I think you're making a really excellent point, because I think and I know it's linked to kind of principles of SEO, that there's different content that appeals to people on a different stage of their purchasing journey. And I think that's the other factor. I think when it comes to the 10 things about Los Angeles or whatever city, you're going to get people that might be visiting that town. I think that, but also that those that are thinking of moving to a city, they might be further out on their purchasing journey than another type of video, which you've just outlined, would appeal to somebody further along that journey, if that's making sense, Robert.
Yep. The buyer journey, which I oftentimes refer to as intent, to the people that are doing business with us, what the intent of the search is that drives somebody into a video in the first place is very important. Saying, why live in city name, is probably somebody who might be a year or two out and researching an area very casually to see if maybe it's a place that they might want to move to. Whereas if a person who already has a neighborhood and they're saying home in neighborhood name, or neighborhood name Van Nuys or Aliana, Texas, they're moving deeper down the intent funnel. They now are not just researching a broader area such as Fort Bend, which is the entire county that Aliana is located in. As a matter of fact, Aliana, I think, is located in Richmond. So now you're 2 levels down, 2 levels of research down. I already know I want to live in Richmond. It's just a matter of which community inside Richmond I want to live in. Now I'm looking for specific information on a specific community. And I think the intent behind that search and that research is much deeper than the broader ones. Like you might say, there's 10 times more likelihood that that person is close to or seriously considering buying a home in that area, which makes those 86 visitors probably more relevant to you than the 860 that you had on your broad like area video. Now, I'm going to disagree with you slightly though, John, because when you're creating a YouTube strategy and you say you want to get good at one thing, I don't necessarily agree with that. If you're going to make a decision to do video, you could say, I'm going to sit at my desk and do 20 of these and talk about every area. That's a video type that's sticking with the niche, and that's what you and I are talking about. But if you wanted to get both traffic and calls to a new channel, it would make sense to do area interest videos broadly and then the specific videos. And I know you said you want to work into that, and I do agree with that. Start someplace, any place. But I would also say the place to start would probably be broad with all the copyable content that's everywhere, like that you could just see a million different examples on YouTube of the top 10 reasons to live in city name. Does that, you follow what I'm saying? Because there's so many good examples. There's not as many good examples of neighborhood videos of people driving around and keeping up a good, informative stream of information going out for 5 minutes while they're driving around. It always surprises me, John, how few agents are equipped to actually just talk straight for 5 minutes on a single area, like and know their information. How many homes have sold in this neighborhood in the last 5 to 10 years? What's the price range? Are there any contingencies or special, master plan community fees? The list goes on.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of influenced about the stuff. Before I chose this subject, I've done a bit of a dive about other people on YouTube discussing this topic that are seen as thought leaders in this topic. And one of the videos, he was talking to a Canadian broker based in Calgary who's come on my radar before, and he does home tours, but they're kind of around the million. They're custom builds from new builds from custom builders, and they're around the $1 million, and they're a certain style of genre of video and that channel. And I will have in the show notes, folks, I will have a short list of different agents doing different styles of videos that will give you some encouragement about the different types of videos. I know you've got some agent, I forgot the gentleman and the brother and sister, one of your clients, he does videos in Austin, is it, in Texas?
Yeah, that would be Houston property. Yeah, Houston properties, or no, sorry, Houston Local Guide is what their video is called. Their channel together. They have a dual channel together, and then they also have individual channels, each of them, where they go and they focus on different parts of Texas, and then they each do neighborhood, videos and kind of deeper dives. They've done very well with it. Like, they're very, very well with video.
Yeah.
I think that the Brett's sister in her very first year in real estate made like $200,000 or $300,000, mostly using lead generation on video to drive that result.
Another type of video is linked to our concept that we've pushed together about becoming the digital mayor of your city, area, town, and that's about. There will be an example in the show notes, folks, of a realtor that interviews local businesses, and it's not directly linked to real estate, but he builds goodwill. He gets referrals from these businesses because he's actually helping this business by promoting them, by interviewing the owners of these businesses, and also these businesses promote his channel. So he gets more traffic to the YouTube channel. So that can be a beneficial way of approaching it.
Agreed. So we're going to go to our break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're going to start to riff a little bit. I'm going to assume that if you've done any research on video at all, some of this you've heard. But I'm going to drift a little bit deeper into ideas that you may not have heard about video. Video that does work. It works very well for lead generation. There's a kind of video that I promote consistently that maybe one person out of every 1,000 people doing real estate video is even doing. And they don't realize how important it is or how much business it can generate them. So we're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. It's episode number 372. You are listening to the MailRight Real Estate Marketing Podcast. Me and my co-host John are talking about video, and we're talking about real estate video and YouTube video specifically. Before the break, I mentioned that I was going to be discussing a video idea that very few people act on, but is a high profit driver. So John, I'm going to use you, as I oftentimes do, as a test case. And if I was going to say on my business, InboundREM, which you know, that I've established 100% through organic marketing methods. I've built it up entirely, bootstrapping, no advertising budget, no paid advertising of any kind, even once. So if you had to guess what percentage of my clients had watched a 30 or 40-minute video, either on my company mission or on my About page, how many would you guess?
I have no idea. Sorry, I honestly don't.
Okay. So the answer is 30 to 40%. These are 40-minute long videos doing nothing but either talking about myself or what the purpose or mission of my company is, And oftentimes the deciding factor of that person to call me is based alone on the about video or the bio video. The reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm a 35-year sales vet, and I've studied every sales trainer that has written a book, almost, like thousands of books, thousands of pieces of knowledge. All of that boiled down into one simple idea. We buy stuff from people that we like. If we get the bonus of having a good value and a mission that goes along with somebody that we like, it becomes an almost tidal wave of momentum for somebody to reach out and connect with you. So they like your value proposition, they like who you are, and they like what you're doing. All right. But how do we communicate that to them? Most salespeople and real estate salespeople wait until they're face-to-face to try to build that momentum up. They share their mission, their unique selling proposition, and everything else for when they're talking to their client. But guess what? You're missing the opportunity to create the momentum for them to reach out to you in the first place. So one of the most important kinds of video, one of the things that really separates my clients who do really incredibly well on video versus ones who don't, is sharing an about video that really dives deep into who you are as a person, what your history is, and what your mission is with whatever your business is. I'll give everybody an example. I'll give you an example, John. One of the most common things that I hear from my clients once they understand that I am a mission-driven dude is they oftentimes start talking about how upset they get about how poorly people operate inside the real estate business in the area that they work in. This really goes 10 times when you start talking about a market in LA. I've had hundreds of my hours consumed by luxury real estate agents telling me how poorly they feel like some of their upper end clients are served, because they very well know that they're about ready to make 60, 80, $100,000 in a single transaction, yet they feel like their competitors are offering very little service in comparison to what they're about ready to earn. You with me so far?
Yes, I do.
So their selling proposition is literally, these are the 30 things that I do for my client. Like, I am the one that ushers in the staging crew. I'm at their doorstep setting everything up. I personally watch, manage, and monitor all the teams that come in to set these kinds of properties up, even normal markets. I get out my drone and take aerial shots, take in-person shots. I do 3 different additional types of content to make sure that we post these things in 3 different places as opposed to 1. That is a unique selling proposition and something for you to talk about inside the video that you do. Every time you've added a single element of service to your personal sales process, that is something that you would be talking about inside your about video. Why you're passionate about doing this. You can do what is called a reverse review, where you're basically talking about the things in general. Don't ever name anybody specific, but just in general, what your marketplace is lacking. Another thing that I find oftentimes, John, is newer agents trying to compete against these established agents who, quite frankly, it sounds to me like many of them get lazy. They have a lock on a market. They've been doing it forever, 20 years, word of mouth referral. And so they take the listing, they put a sign out in the front yard, and they send out an email to their existing clients and call it a day. Whereas a newer agent might say, I'll do all that plus this, plus that, plus, I'll pick the dog up from the room.
I think it's a combination of that. And also I think it's a combination of burnout.
That could be it. That could be it too. That could very well be it. And every single one of these things, ladies and gentlemen, is an opportunity for you to put inside a mission video. What you see in terms of a challenge, what you're doing in terms of addressing and fixing that challenge. If you can express that, figure out a way to articulate that clearly inside of a video, you'll discover that your results on all the other videos that you produce will be miles ahead of anybody else. I have people call me up who have 1 million views on their channel. And my client, Brett, who has 60,000 views on his channel, is absolutely making a ton more money than them, which is very frustrating for people who are calling me. Why have I spent all this time getting 1 million views, yet the case study you have on your website is more productive monetarily than my 1 million views? And the simple answer to that is that most real estate agents don't understand what kind of videos they should be producing to get a lead. They don't understand that there's a difference, and they don't understand the following: that along with all those videos, make sure that one of the main intro videos to your channel is explaining who you are, good, bad, or indifferent. Make sure that you give people an opportunity to connect, because that is the power of video. We buy stuff from people that we like. That was my point like 10 minutes ago. We buy stuff from people that we like. That's it. Brush away 30 years of sales knowledge. Would you agree with that, John?
Yeah, and I think also the great benefit of video is you hear from a lot of people that the problem with a lot of digital lead generation is they always say these leads, they're not really leads, they're low quality. You know, I'm inundated with these internet leads and they're not real leads. And I do understand why they say that, but I think it's also down to some degree a lack of education and knowing what they're getting themselves involved in. But the beauty of video is that if somebody consumes a lot of your video content, they're normally, and then they approach you, they're normally a much higher quality digital lead.
That is definitely the case with our clients. Video is not the only strategy that we employ, but it is a strategy. It is what I like to call the close of the digital selling cycle. So when you might have somebody read something, you might have somebody listen to something, you might have somebody appreciate some of your pictures, but the thing that's going to give them the momentum to pick up the phone and call you or register with your site is going to be video that you've done, for sure. That's 100% the way that most of the internet's working. Krista Mayshore, every single big person that we've had on the show that's breaking the averages in terms of results is using video. Even what companies like Ylopo are trying to cycle video into their lead generation process. Travis Tom creates most of his revenue by doing videos that he drops on Facebook. The list of people goes on and on and on, but video is the way that we're connecting. The close ratio for most of my clients is between 30 to 50%. So close ratio is where somebody calls you, and I know you know this, John, but then out of 10 people that call you, how many turn into clients? So with most lead generation strategies online, that number could be 1 in 100, or 1 in 10 is usually incredibly good. Like Zillow is usually 1 in 10. So when I'm saying 30 to 50%, I'm saying 3 to 5 out of 10. That's insane.
Yeah, but especially if they've come from a more referral base lead generative system, you know, they're using what I call the Buffini, or they're just using friends and family, or they've got a local personal referral network, and then they want to increase their business and they go into the digital, that they think that a lot of these digital lead generative platforms or ways, that lead's going to be like the quality of their personal referral, and this is why they get peeved, because you're dealing with a totally different beast. But I think when we're talking about video, it's a kind of bridge between real personal referral and the kind of quality digital lead that you get from other forms of digital marketing.
I definitely agree with everything that you just said. There is now one other thing about video, because we talked about a lot about video type. Let's just say that you kind of nail this all down. Let's just say you're doing 3 or 4 different types of video and you're along that process. There's one remaining bit about video that I find to be one of the more exciting elements of it. I have most of my video that I've recorded on my computer, program that I use called Screencast-O-Matic. And I've lately started to go through my Screencast-O-Matic and upload some of my old videos to Instagram. And I've now managed to acquire so far, I think maybe 500 to 1,000 new views on old videos that I've done in many years past. The total requirement for me is to upload them tag the video, put the tags on Instagram to get some attention from people, and that's it. So for the first time in forever, my Instagram channel is growing again in terms of audience. I haven't really done anything new. I have certainly not created any new content for it. I've only leveraged the video that I already have. You can do the same thing on LinkedIn, Pinterest. Everybody knows that video is where it's at. So once you get used to putting everything up on YouTube, assuming that you kept the original video files, you actually have a tool that you can use to propel your business and keep your audiences engaged across every platform, Facebook, everywhere, just by repurposing those videos, which is an excellent task for virtual assistants and assistants if you have one. You just have them go through, give them access to your work computer, they go through it, and they just upload those videos to wherever you want them uploaded to. And you just get a whole new series of views on something that you may have done quite a while ago. John's looking, okay, you're listening. I thought I misinterpreted your look. Your raised eyebrow was not, I want to say something. It was you were listening to what I had to say.
I always do, Robert.
And in one last thing, so I'm going to give everybody, I'm going to end the call, or we're going to end the subject with one remaining tip. There is one kind of broad video that I've been told over and over again that does generate leads. It is a broad video. It's the only one that I've consistently heard market to market seems to generate leads for real estate agents. I don't personally focus on this video, so I can't say that definitively. I don't tell my clients to focus on this video, but I've heard that relocating to videos are ones that actually get calls. And so that's my hack, my tip as we close down the show, because for everybody listening, I have, between 500 to 2,000 calls with real estate agents every single year. And I've been doing that for 14 years. And I am talking to somebody for 2 hours per call, usually 1 to 2 hours. So you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of case study research for me to be able to come on the show and then directly communicate to all of you, hey, this is something that I think is working. Do you have anything that you want to add, John?
No, I think we've given some good insight. I think the main thing is, listen to this video, listen to some of our other videos, do a bit of dive, listen to some other channels. Like I say, I will have some links in the show note, the video notes and the show notes to accompany this podcast and the video version, and do a bit of a dive, but do something in 2023. Actually do some videos, have a go at it. Yeah,
I for sure. Listen, John and I have been saying since we started the show 2-3 years ago, video is the place to be at. Every year we go, this is the year, this is the year. Saying the same thing in 2023. This is the year. A couple more years, you're going to probably miss the train in terms of it still being a bleeding edge tactic that you can still make a lot of money in most markets because it's not oversaturated. It's getting that way. We're starting to see so much movement in it, so many people making so much money at it. Eventually, all of you listening in whatever market you're in, even places like Aspen and Durango and really lesser known marketplaces, you're going to still hear about video. So do it now. That's our advice in 2023. It's also, by the way, a real good hedge against lead attrition, which we've talked about in other episodes too. So please go through our back catalog. John was the brilliant one who came up with the idea of understanding how lead attrition works, and we talked pretty extensively on that subject. So get involved in some of our old content and figure out what we're talking about so that you can bulletproof your marketing strategies in 2023 against lead attrition. All right, thank you for tuning in. John, how would you like people to reach out to you if they're so inclined?
Yeah, thanks for that, Rob. We're looking for some evangelist agents, people that really want to get a result in 2023. And the deal's this: if you're looking to get your own website, we will build you a nice semi-custom solution, a custom home page, and some of the key landing page. We'll do that for free, and we will host and support your website for 1 year for free. And what we want in return is that you utilize it. If you're happy, you start talking about it and you start promoting it to your fellow agents. If that sounds interesting, go to the mel-right.com, book a chat with me. He's right on the top navigation, and we can see if we're a good fit, and we'd love to have that discussion with you. Over to you, Robert.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to reach out or learn more about me, go to InboundREM.com and click that About button or watch the video on the homepage. Either one will do the trick and let you know who I am because I follow my own advice. I'm so proud of myself. All right, everybody, we really appreciate you tuning in. Check you out next time.